As of December 13th, CAIR has been on TV 6 times, and CAIR is irrelevant in all of these broadcasts.
AJ, new this morning, Tennessee has a commission that oversees textbooks that end up in our schools statewide. Well, a woman recently appointed to this group is now getting backlash, along with our Tennessee lawmaker who appointed her to this position. So Fox 17 News digging into this. House Speaker Cameron Sexton appointed Lori Cardozo-Moore to the Textbook Commission. Cardozo-Moore founded a group called Proclaiming Justice to the Nation. It's based out of Franklin. It is designated as a Muslim hate group according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. But Moore's group says that's not true about the organization. She says they are targeting extremists and still respect followers of Islam. Still, the Council on American Islamic Relations is asking Sexton to change his mind.
If this individual does have the influence that she has sought in the past, she would obviously seek to either remove any positive or even neutral portrayal of Islam and Muslims from textbooks and instead insert a negative one.
Now, Cardozo-Moore says the claims are baseless. Fox 17 News reached out to Tennessee House Speaker Sexton for a response. So far, we have not heard back. AJ?
This is a continuation from last month's CAIR campaign to have Lori Cardozo-Moore fired. This is not their business. They have no right to decide who can have a job and who can't. And they do this constantly. LCM is the 23rd person CAIR has attacked this year. TV stations need to stop assisting in CAIR's campaigns of personal destruction.
First, a quote from Adolf Hitler, and now a symbol used by neo-Nazis. High school journalists discovered both in Kentucky law enforcement training material, and now faith leaders want action. WDRB's Chad Mills has their plea to Kentucky's governor.
What looks like an ordinary training video for Kentucky officers was anything but to Matt Goldberg.
The reaction that I had was shock.
First exposed by student journalists from DuPont Manual High School, this video used up until recently by the Department of Criminal Justice Training in a drug training class features a Nazi symbol called a Sonnenrad at the very beginning.
The use that was in this particular video was by a production company that is known for producing neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic films.
For Goldberg, the director of the Jewish Community Relations Council, the video is concerning because of what the same student journalist uncovered in October. Old training materials used by Kentucky State Police until 2013 that included quotes from Adolf Hitler and advocated for ruthless violence. Goldberg and the Jewish community of Louisville are now convinced what's needed is an open and transparent top-to-bottom review of all Kentucky law enforcement agencies, and they're not alone.
I think it's important for people all over America to speak up when any faith is attacked.
Wednesday afternoon, Wahida Muhammad, chair of the Kentucky chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, added her voice to those calling for an investigation.
I would like to see Governor Beshear address this issue with an investigation.
Governor Andy Beshear says the state has already launched an internal review of all current and previous training materials, but these faith leaders want something broader.
As bad as the training video is, and it's pretty bad, CAIR has nothing to do with this. But attaching themselves to stories about Nazis is one of the ways they manage to get on TV hundreds of times a year.
A jury has convicted an Illinois man accused in the 2017 bombing at an Islamic center in Bloomington. Michael Harry was found guilty on all 5 counts. Federal prosecutors say the 49-year-old was the ringleader of an anti-government militia group in Illinois. He and 2 others drove more than 500 miles to bomb the mosque in hopes of scaring Muslims into leaving the U.S. CAIR Minnesota called the verdict a victory, but said the fight against white supremacy is far from over.
Today is a day of relief for many of us, but we are still concerned about the rise of white supremacist groups across this country.
CAIR's executive director says despite today's verdict, the community is no safer than it was in 2017.
There were 2 broadcasts about Jaylani Hussein's reaction to the conviction of Michael Hari for bombing the Dar al-Farouk Mosque. But Jaylani doesn't talk about any of that. Instead, he warns us that white people are the greatest threat to our freedom.
White supremacist groups today still pose the greatest threat to our freedom and our safety.
You don't need to ask them about this. They're constantly telling us that they don't like white people in their statements, in their actions, in their hate reports, and on their YouTube channel.
Racism is the default state of affairs in America for anyone who's not white.
They hate white people, and there's no reason to constantly put their hate speech on TV.
If I even so much as saw someone of a Caucasian hue, I would go in and choke them.
Minneapolis is making changes when it comes to policing in the city. Overnight, the Minneapolis City Council approved a 2021 budget plan that will reallocate nearly $8 million from the Minneapolis Police Department.
Council on American Islamic Relations Minnesota Director Jaylani Hussein said he wants clearer policies that will prevent use of violence by the MPD and more community engagement for decisions on public safety.
The same curriculum that is being on the books right now is going to produce the same results that we're going to have regardless of we start a new policing or not. So we have to think about the beginning and also the end.
CAIR has nothing to do with this, but here's Jaylani Hussein angling to be part of the police oversight process. CAIR hates the police. They were leaders in the George Floyd riots.
Minnesota killed George Floyd.
Only a fool or a member of the Minneapolis City Council would think of giving this rogue group access to governance.
New developments coming in on the fate of the Confederate statue standing in front of the Harrison County Courthouse. Officials could reach a decision on whether or not to remove the statue as soon as Monday. A motion is on the agenda for Monday's Board of Supervisors meeting to discuss moving the more than a century-old statue. Leading up to the potential vote, the Council on American Islamic Relations announced support for removal of the monument.
Why is CAIR getting involved with this? Muslims have nothing to do with the Civil War. There are no CAIR broadcasts of them helping counter terror efforts. Instead, they want to destroy the terrorist screening database.
The whole watch list is illegal. Not a small part of it, not the way they do it, the whole thing, the entire enterprise.
There are no CAIR broadcasts where they confront violent Muslims or obnoxious imams.
It was the Jews that have taught the white man.
That is 100% of the CAIR TV appearances where they are not relevant. It's time to start telling your local newscasters that the Council for American Islamic Relations is on TV way too much.